Good day, everyone. Hello out there. How are you doing? I hope you are doing well. Welcome to TLP Sports Club. Guys, I go by the name of Harry B, and the B means billion. All right. Welcome to the show. I have a few questions. Either we're crazy or somebody is leaking some information through the Cleveland Browns organization. Let's talk about that. Before we do that, though,
BWB bandwagon buffs.
that's right. It's your man's Harry Billion. Please do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Make sure to give me the thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you can get the videos as soon as I upload it to YouTube. All right, family, I got to go ahead and get into this video real quick. So that's all the business I got. You know what time it is. Let's work. Let's get to work because I don't have a lot of time. When I do these on the weekdays now, I got to hurry up and get them in and get up out of here. If you're coming on your way from work, the devil is working already. See, the devil's working already. My system just went off for a second there. I hope it didn't affect your screen. But I hope you're having a great day, and I hope all is well with you and your family. Those who you call family. If you are watching live, thank you for joining me in the chat. If you are watching post live, please join the conversation. Go into the comments and let me know what you think about the topic today, which is I believe that somebody is leaking information through the Cleveland Browns organization to the media. And I'm starting a little calm because I'm going to get hyped later. So if you are watching post live, if you scroll just a little bit, you might get into the meat or the juice of the conversation. This is kind of like the setup to give people time to come into the live experience. I went live today on my phone. I'm back now in my studio. I'm reporting live in New York, and I'm now back. As you can tell, I'm in my studio now. I was man on the street. So here we are. Just a quick little story while we wait for people to come in. I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, and he was like, he had a sponsor, and I recognized the sponsor. I was like, oh, that's the same sponsor that offered me, and I remember turning them down because I felt like the offer was not good enough for where I'm at right now. So I turned them down, but I was like, I wondered now. I was thinking, I was wondering like how much they actually offer him. So I'm happy to say, the channel is healthy, is growing. The community is healthy and is growing. You guys are locked in, and I appreciate you. I appreciate the support that you give to this community. I would say to any sponsors out there, this is one of the safest, cleanest, I would say, communities that talks about sports, college football, professional football now, and other sports, especially if you see my post on the communities page. So to any sponsors out there, I am taking offers for sponsors. And so if you want to talk business, my email, you can email me. You should know how to get the email, the official email. But for those of y'all who are listening who don't know how to get the official email, I'll just put that on the screen. You can email me here, jointlplive@gmail.com. I do get that email. This is for the show, for people who come on the panel. But if you are a small business or a sponsor, somebody who wants to link up and get access to this community for your product, please go ahead and email me here, jointlplive@gmail.com. I am currently taking offers with sponsors. So yeah. And then also, if you are a publicist or someone who deals with sponsors and you would like to connect with business, and you have a small business or you starting a business and you contact sponsors for YouTubers or content creators, I'm also looking for somebody special. Email me there, jointlplive@gmail.com, so that we can talk business, because I need somebody to do that side of the business while I focus on trying to bring great content to the community, to keep the community engaged. And you know what I'm saying? Having these conversations. I'd rather somebody else do that part so that I can focus on the content as we grow. All right. So email me, jointlplive@gmail.com. And also, if you want to come on to the show and you want to, get out of the comment section, you want to voice your opinion of what we're talking about, you can also email me there, jointlplive@gmail.com. That is how you get on the show. And if you see anybody on the show or you hear anybody, this is the same way that they get on the show. All right. So let's go ahead and dig into the show. Because while I'm calm, at least, I was a little bit emotional on that first live on my phone. I realized I was getting a little amped and I was getting a little hype. And in my post live conversation to myself, I was like, calm down a little bit. You're getting emotional about this stuff. Relax, okay? You got a show to run. You got a company to run. Relax, okay? Stop being so emotional. I gotta stop being so emotional. So I'm a little calmer. I gotta remember that if I'm courting sponsors, I gotta have a level head, okay? Or maybe that's why they will love me, because they're like, yo, Harry B, we like the fact that you are raw and emotional, and that's lets us know that you're real. You're not this plasticky type of guy. So any sponsors that see the raw emotion, that is me, but I can be calm. All right. I did go to college. So college helps you to be calm, I think. I don't think that's true, but whatever. That's the first thing that came to my mind. I don't know why that came to my mind. Let's get going, man. All right. Hey, Panda, you calling in today? Bandwagon Browns, what up? What up, business partner? What up, Fifth? And you know why I'm saying Fifth, right? 50-50. What up, Fifth? Oh, man. GGV357 says, Harry, we get emotional because our nephew, Shador, we don't want him mistreated. That's true, but I need to be able to separate myself because I'm trying to run a company. It's like your nephew, you know what I'm saying? Like you're a nephew, you care so much about your nephew, but you don't want, you know what I'm saying? But you're still trying to run a company, so it's kind of weird. Fifth, what up, homie? A channel called Beautiful. What up to the truth tellers? May you receive a return of millionfold wealth, health, and prosperity. Okay. After the game. Hey, what's up after the game? Just watched a Michael Irvin video. He was talking about CP. He said he was getting in his chest. Sounds like pneumonia. Okay, that's some news right there. Coach Prime is dealing with some kind of illness. Y'all ready? Let's go. Oh, let me make sure I don't have any callers so far. Right now, I don't have a producer, so I got to do everything. The prayer is that I get a producer. Maybe in a year, I want to have a team of people that I'm going to have, scouring the internet and making sure that we get on point with this content. That's in the prayer. And for all of you praying aunties with the machete, I definitely want you to pray, and I ask for your prayer on this channel. The way that I think about this channel is a little different from how people think about YouTube channels. I'm not thinking about this as just as a YouTube channel. I'm thinking about it as a television network, because that's what my work or my schooling is in television networking, my production, communication. That's what I have. So I think of it as a television network that is later on going to span into other things where I can employ other creators, give them a living wage so that they can provide content on this TLP Sports Club network and cover other sports like basketball, women's sports, all sorts of things. That's the vision for this channel. So if you see me moving a little differently from other YouTubers, I hope you understand that I don't treat myself as just a YouTuber, even though I am. I treat myself like a businessman who is in the media, because this is going to be a big media conglomerate that you're going to see everywhere. That is the vision. Not happening yet. But if you click that subscribe button, you might be able to help a brother to push this dream forward, okay? Stop playing with me. I can't keep praying forever, okay? Y'all gonna have to hit that subscribe button because like 85% of y'all are not subscribed, but you are consuming the content. I can't get 100,000 views and I got 17,000 subscribers. Like, what's going on? Something ain't right, okay? Maybe it's my accent. Or maybe it's when I ate that egg with the cayenne pepper. I don't know. But it's cayenne pepper and 1 cube. That's how you do it. Let's go. It's game time. Join TLPlive@gmail.com. That is the email, guys. Join TLPlive@gmail.com. If you want to get on the show, you want to come on here and voice your opinion, let's go. Let's get this thing cracking. You feel me? Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's go. I think that's John the Liquidator. John the Liquidator, what's up, man? I hope you're well, man. We're not friends, but I think I'm friends with you in my head. Like, we're friends. We're buddies. I like people. That's just how it goes. Okay, so let's remove the intro and then let's go ahead and share the screen so that we can get this thing going. So the show tonight, guys, if you just came in, we got enough people in here. Let's go. I feel like somebody is leaking information to the through the media. Somebody in that Cleveland Browns organization is leaking information or is leaking something and is detrimental to the media. I don't know why they're doing it, but I would like to figure out why they're doing it. It's upsetting me. I don't know. It's weird. But here's how it works in the media. In big sports media. Phil Jackson used to do this thing all the time. It could be anybody, right? Because it's a big organization. They have different departments within that organization. So you have to understand that this is not like, oh, everybody's working in some like one cubicle and they all know each other. No. Because when these media heads talk and they say, hey, I got a friend in there, when you listen to the facility or you listen to Stephen A. Smith and his panel, and people are saying, I know somebody who knows somebody in there, and this is what they're giving. This is what they're saying to me. That happens, right? So while Shador was chosen by the Cleveland Browns, and I know some of y'all, when I'm talking this stuff, some of y'all are in the comments being silly and y'all trolling me and y'all think that I'm just some regular dude. I'm not. I know how this works. So what's going to happen is this. Somebody who knows somebody is going to be saying something and they want that information out, so they're going to leak it. So it ain't going to be tied directly to the organization. Like, I hope you're not thinking like the Cleveland Browns, like the owner or the coach is going to come out and say, hey, Shador's slow. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to say that. But somebody in that organization is sending out information. They know something. There's chatter going on. They are privy to the inner chatters, and they're leaking that to the press. Because what you're about to hear is not something that you just get from out of nowhere, right? It's not something you get from out of nowhere. So that's why I feel like somebody is leaking something. To set this premise up, if you got somebody like Kevin Stefanski or whatever his name is, Stefanski, the head coach. Remember I made a video and I gave you all the history, the last 10 years of how many coaches they have. Hugh Jackson, they had Hugh Jackson, and then they had Stefanski, who was the COVID coach. Basically, he came in 2020, and he's been there since, right? And he's probably the more decorated coach that they've had in a very long time. Stefanski did not want Shador. So Stefanski is hired by the organization, by the owner. He's a grown man. He has his own ideas that he sold to the owner, and the owner believes, yes, I like your ideas. I'm going to hire you, and you have, with the GM, have to work together to put this, make us a winning organization. Sometimes, let me just put this out there. Some organizations don't care about winning. Okay, because I think somebody said that Cleveland sells out. It was probably DC Carson. Cleveland sells out their stadiums every year. How you do that with being the worst organization in the NFL? Maybe it's like Nebraska, where there's nothing else in Cleveland than football. Like, I mean, I've been there, but I mean, I guess it ain't much. It's like middle America, you know what I'm saying? Like they vote Republican and stuff like that. But it's like, I thought they had a little bit more going because they're not too far from New York. And you know what I'm saying? Like there's got to be something over there happening other than just football. So how are they selling out stadiums? And they're the worst organization. They lose every single year. Like Hugh Jackson, his record, if you watch that video that I put out, bruh, 336-2, I believe. 336-2. I said, bruh, you won 3 games in 40. Like, you been, how long you been here? You only won 3 games and they kept you that long? So Stefanski may not be the one. So, okay, yeah, this is my train of thought. I'm sorry. So Stefanski did not want Shador. The owner, just keep in mind, Stefanski goes out. He's hired. He gets his own, recruiting staff. He has his cronies. So they are running this thing in conjunction with the GM, the general manager. For months, they're watching college. The people who are the recruiters are watching all of the quarterbacks who are supposed to be slated for this draft. So you got your whole team working. You're a grown man. You answer to your wife, to God, or whoever you got. You're not answering to everybody, and obviously your employer, the owner. So come the big night, you've done all of this work, you're a grown man, and you knew exactly how you wanted this thing to go. In the 5th round, or this thing is going, you know you don't want him, you've passed him up. I'm talking about Shador now. You've passed him up, and then all of a sudden, the owner calls you, like your daddy calling you and saying, you know what I'm saying, like, I want you to pick Shador. I'm trying to set this up so some of y'all can see where my train of thought comes from. So this grown man is told to do something, and he's a grown man. It's like, bro, you are owner of the team. You're not a coach. You don't understand how this works. Let us do our job. No, I want you to pick Shador. Imagine how that feels, and if you are the coach, the head coach, because the last thing that a head coach will want to be in a position is against the owner. You have your vision on how you want this team to win. And then the owner steps in and tells you, hey, I want you to pick that player. Sir, excuse me? Yeah, I want you to pick Shador. Hold on, guys. Let me take this phone call real quick. It's on a flip phone. Mr. Owner, sir, of the Cleveland Browns. I don't know your name yet because I don't really care too much. But, maybe I should know because I'm trying to run a company here. Yeah, whatever your name is. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is Stefanski. A little darker and a little chubbier, but yeah, it's him. Yeah, what you say? You want me to pick who? Shador? You mean like that little snobby little kid? Like Dion, little rich, snobby, self-entitled kid? You want me to pick him? Come on, bro. Like, come on, bro. Is he serious? Everybody in the room, like, is this? Oh, okay, sir. All right, sure, no problem. Let's pick him. So I have no investment in him. I don't care about him. I want Dylan Gabriel, right? No investment. So it's possible that he could be the one leaking the information. Let's just say that. Or he has his people doing his dirty work. That is it's a plausible idea. I'm just saying, because now you just got strong-armed publicly because the information leaked out to let the public know that you didn't want him, and it was the owner that made that phone call and strong-armed you. I'm just going to set that down because this is this is the premise of what I'm trying to tell you. So it could be Stefanski's people doing it. He could have such a disdain for this kid, doesn't care. Could. Okay, I'm using the words very carefully because we know Shador's still trying to, win a job. We're out here just doing whatever we do. We're paying attention, and nobody pays more attention than I do. I read between the lines because I know how this corporate stuff works. But somebody's leaking this information. If it's not Stefanski's people, it's somebody that felt some kind of way about what transpired to bring Shedeur in the door. Because if Cleveland didn't pick him, nobody was going to pick Shedeur. We were already bracing ourselves. When we were watching live, we were already bracing ourselves for Shedeur not to get drafted. Undrafted free agent goes to try to do something to try to get into the league. Like Dion said, he was hurt. For his son to drop that low. So Coach Prime came out, he was like, hurt. I'm hurt. Because it was very close that Shedeur was not going to get picked if Cleveland did not pick him. So who's leaking the information? Let's find out what I'm talking about. Let's go. How you doing today? Here we go, guys.
I'm going to play you a sound.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Mike doesn't think I could offer unique insight into
Yeah, I
it.
do.
Well, you never dove into an NFL playbook like these two
as far
have.
as you know.
So
But
that is true. You know what, Bull? I should apologize. If you have dug into an NFL playbook, you are uniquely qualified for this conversation too. But last Thursday, we had Jory Epstein on the show from Yahoo. She had spent 2 days in Berea covering the Browns. Then she wrote her column over the weekend. Charles Robinson, who also...
I got to stop the show because Dallas is in the building. Ty Smith, I see you in the building. Dallas is in the building. Put some respect on Ty Smith's name. You feel what I'm saying? Ty Smith, what up? I stopped the show for Dallas. You feel me?
Also is a national NFL writer, wrote a column on the Browns quarterback job. I want to play you a soundbite from Jory and then read you some excerpts from the two articles because they both mentioned something in different ways that we hadn't heard prior to this information. Jory said this first on Thursday, and I don't want to say we glossed over it, but
follow the trend, follow the whole setup. They're making a point here. I watched this show. I came in right when they were sharing that information, and I went crazy in the chat. So follow what they're saying because this is going to be the premise of what we talk about tonight. I'm not going to be on here too long. So if you're coming on the show, come on here now. Let's listen to this. Let's hear this, and we're going to talk about it, and I got to be out. You feel me?
But we didn't really ask any follow-up.
And by the way, I got to spend some time with my wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to say, babe, okay, I'm here. I'm not going to bed too early. Okay, hey, babe, you know, I hear you. I just got to give her my ear. You feel me? Sometimes, you know, you're on your phone and you're just like, she's talking. I have no idea what she's saying because I'm just on my phone. So I got to put the phone down, give her an hour before I go to sleep. Be like, babe, just talk. Say whatever you got to say. If you got a spouse, treat them well.
Ups to it. I didn't really make anything of it until I read more into the article she wrote and Charles wrote. But this is a 50-second clip from Jory Epstein when she joined us last week, and then I'll read you guys the clips from Charles Robinson and Jory's article. This was Jory on UCSS last week.
Mr. Wonderful here. My friend
that's
Howard
Mr.
Marks
Wonderful.
was
That's
the
not Jory.
co-founder of
That's a
Apple,
commercial.
the gaming giant that was
There we
just
go.
But the guys who need the most work right now are the rookies. And that's not a knock on them. That's because they don't have pro experience. And then I would even say that Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders arrive at the NFL with pretty different levels of foundations, not because of, like, this is not about where they can go. This is about where they can come from. And where they came from is Dillon Gabriel played for 3 schools, all sorts of offenses. It really had a much wider range of foundation, in my opinion, in terms of the offenses he was exposed to. And so I think he is a little bit ahead of Shedeur Sanders. And I think that's reflected in who's getting these snaps. So I would say, to answer your question, now that we have that context, the reason Shedeur Sanders is not getting first team reps is because it's going to take a little bit of time before operationally and from a cadence standpoint and from a playbook standpoint, he is ready to excel in. And they're not trying to put him in a situation where it's just like obvious how unready he is for that.
So that was Jory.
I want to say shout out to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. This is not my footage. This is their stuff. This is their discussion. So I want to say shout out to them, YouTube, for the algorithm. Shout out to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Since we came over to Cleveland, I've had to subscribe to a few channels to try to get myself acclimated with this world that we are now in, that we don't want to be in. I've made that very clear. All right. I can't wait till we get our new team, whatever team that is. I don't care what team it is. I will be so excited to just be on that team other than this team. Any Cleveland fans out there, I hope you feel that heat. All right. I think we're going to be a split fan base as long as, like, in Colorado, I think we merged. The BWBs and the real fans, we merged. But in Cleveland, I don't think we want to merge. I think we're going to stay Shador fans because we can't wait to get the heck up out of Cleveland. Like, for real, okay? I don't like Cleveland, not as a state or whatever. Not that. I'm talking about the fact that they don't know how to handle anything. We don't want to be here. I want to make sure I make that very clear. I think unless, like now you're saying F the Shador fans, I don't curse, but if I did, I'm not going to do it. But you know what I'm saying? Y'all saying F Shador fans? This is a problem you do not want, I promise you. This is the most exposure you've gotten ever. Nationally. Nobody cares about y'all. So we might be split if y'all don't act nice. If y'all want to treat us like outsiders, I promise you this is a problem you do not want. Because we tote Bibles and machetes. And we slashing. Let's go.
Epstein.
I told you I was going to get hype. I started the show calm, but I'm starting to get hype. Because it's hot in the studio.
And then over the weekend, Charles Robinson wrote an article. The headline of the article was this: Shador Sanders can win the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback job. Here's how, from inside the building. And then he went on and wrote this, and you'll see it on your screen. Physically, Sanders can start in the NFL right now.
Pay attention to this part right here. This is the part that got me hype. Focus on certain key words that are being said.
Now, despite all the talk about the Colorado Buffaloes offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur utilizing a pro-style scheme that supposedly made Sanders more, quote, pro-ready than some other quarterbacks, I don't think that is proven to be the case. Not only is Sanders going to be mentally swimming with the complexity of an NFL offense, there's a lot of work to do.
Mentally swimming with the complexity of an NFL offense. Somebody's leaking that stuff.
Do with the basic terminology and verbiage used by Stefanski's scheme.
There is a lot of work to do with the basic terminology and verbiage. If you say verbiage, I get it. I went to public school. Okay. Utilized by Stefanski's scheme. I ain't trying to insult anybody that went to public school. I'm just saying, some of y'all would say verbiage. Some say verbiage, okay? It's okay. We understand each other. It's communication. Bruh, these two lines. Not only is Sanders going to be mentally swimming with the complexity of an offense, of an NFL offense, there is a lot of work to do with the basic terminology and verbiage used by Stefanski's scheme. What the heck are y'all talking about? I'm not even I'm gonna wait to tell you to play what they say. Let me give you my heat first. First of all, what? Let's deal with the basic terminology first. And I understand, because this is education, we have to take what comes after basic terminology, because if you just take that part of it, you would just get, oh my gosh, you won't understand basic. No. This is the part that hooks you. Stefanski's scheme. So if you just get stuck at basic terminology, you would say, oh, he can't understand basic stuff in the NFL. No, it's not that. Because every NFL team has their own, every head coach has their own scheme. So he is saying Stefanski's scheme is going to be very tough for Shador. But the idea of basic terminology, Stefanski, the last time I checked, you know what his record is? He ain't won nothing. Well, I'm sorry. I erred, because then that's not true. He was the coach of the year twice, the national AP coach of the year twice. 2023, and I forget the other year. I guess when he first came in. Because he's probably the more decorated coach that Cleveland has had. So I'll give him that. But you're not telling me that Stefanski has this ungodly scheme that that Shador can't understand? If it's that dope and great, then they should be winning a lot more games. Because the people that understand it, they should be able to put that into practice and win games because it's so dope. That's just the first part of it. Here's the other part of it. We're talking about Deion Sanders' son, who he came out of the womb looking like a football, right? So when his dad saw him, he was about to grip him and so like holding him. This is the story part. This is where I entertain. Okay, come on, follow me. Right? So he had like those three little things that he was about to hold him and throw him like Shador came out of the womb playing football. His dad took his kids to football practice. My son, who's 9, I took him to football practice. So stand back. To tell all the parents to stand back, especially the ones that are very active like myself. Get off the field. We don't want you near us because we know what you're about to do. I can imagine Coach Prime, right? He took them there. And guess what? He did not like how those coaches were coaching his kids. Being who he is. One of the greatest football players that's ever played the game. That's how Coach Prime got into coaching. And if you didn't know that story, can you hit the like button? Because I just give you a gem. And even if you knew the story, hit the like button anyway. Just help me out. And if you really didn't know that story, and you're like, dang, I didn't know that. I've been following Coach Prime forever. I didn't know that's how he got into coaching. Subscribe to the channel because I does this. Help me out when I help you, okay? I entertain just a little bit. So that's how Coach Prime became a coach. So he started coaching his kids. Remember now, he's one of the greatest NFL. This is not just some guy that started coaching his kids. This is one of the greatest NFL players to ever play the game, right? On both sides of the ball, offense and defense, right? He was not like, he's a defender just trying to coach his offensive kid. His offensive kid? You figure that out. They're not offensive, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so Coach Prime, who's one of the greatest NFL players, started coaching his kids when they were pubs. It's hard for me to really contemplate or try to understand how somebody's going to say that Shador Sanders, from that father, Deion Sanders, is going to be mentally swimming with the complexity of an NFL offense, let alone the idea of understanding a basic terminology. He ain't say like, the complexity of that, but he's saying just the outskirts of the system, of the scheme. Shador's going to be mentally swimming. And I started, keep in mind that I had time to process this. So I'm processing and I'm like, this guy is full of doo-doo. Y'all can use that other word. I don't cuss on the show. I said, this guy is crazy. Either he's crazy or somebody really hates Coach Prime and is trying hard to bait him to say something. I said, because this doesn't make sense. Keep in mind, Shador's godparents, Shador is talking to Tom Brady. My brain just went, I'm not going to tell you. The demons are trying to work. Shador's mentor is Tom Brady, not one of the best quarterback to ever play the game of football. His mentor is Tom Brady. He's been in the Tom Brady camps. Basic terminology of Stefanski's scheme? Mentally swimming? There's an agenda here. I said there's an agenda here. There's no way. Oh, Tim, give me a second. I'm about to send you the link right now. So look, here's the thing. We're split. I don't know what the split is, but there are people that are now starting to eat this trash. There are people that were on our side 1 second ago, but for some reason they're starting to buy into the media thing. I'm reading some of the comments, and some people are telling me, oh, Harry B, what if they're doing it for his benefit? I said, wait, what? For his benefit? So you're starting to buy into this media stuff? It's amazing how, when I tell y'all about the media propaganda, it's amazing how over time, if people keep saying the same thing, if many people, remember Mary Kay was the first one to suggest that Shador was going to have a hard time. I brought it right here on this show. Remember, I told y'all, she was one of the first ones to say that Shador was going to have a hard time figuring this out. So there's a thread here. There's a theme going on. Why are they saying this? Where is it coming from? Because what you and I know, if you are a Shador fan, you've been following them for a long time, especially if you are a machete Bible-toting auntie. I'm an uncle. If you are one of those aunties, you know that what we know about Shador is that he's far advanced in his thinking. His dad calls him grown. The guy is the way he processes things. Everybody has told us this, right? And I will tell you this, the only thing that there's a little bit of a wrinkle in that story is Sean Lewis. Because Sean Lewis's system, there was a story that came out that said that Shador did not understand Sean Lewis's system. He just didn't like it. So I don't know the inner workings of that, right? But that will be the only time, if there's anything out there where we can wrap our heads up for the more level-headed people that are confused and trying to figure out what are they saying and why? Because I have never heard this from anyone. So why are they saying it? Who is saying it? Why is it coming? Who's behind it, and where is it coming from? I can't place it, but it has to be somebody within that Cleveland Browns organization that's leaking information. They're either doing it maliciously, because the more and more people keep coming out and saying this one is from Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports. The other one was from Mary Kay, because now it's like it's becoming a song. Everybody's saying it now. Mentally. You keep hearing it, and it's going now. I feel like somebody's trying hard to bait Coach Prime into saying something. He hasn't said anything about the Cleveland Browns yet. Even though people have come out and said, oh, it's time for Prime to let go of Shador. He didn't say, bruh, that's his father, who knows the business more than most people around the business. He's the face of the business. If he can't protect his son, who's going to protect him? And the stuff that I'm seeing, I'm like, wait a minute. I want to make sure that I understand what's going on. Take it slow. Harry B, process. People are calling you crazy. Harry B, you saying a lot. Let Shador cook and da-da-da-da-da-da. I said, wait a minute, though. You need allies out here. You're going to need channels like mine, just like Colorado. I told y'all. Pat Narduzzi, let's go. All you anonymous coaches in Colorado, let's go. I'm putting you out here. I ain't letting them off the hook. I don't care if you want to drink the Kool-Aid. Speaking of Kool-Aid, I got lemon in mine. You know those packages, those sugarless packages. I'm hooked. I'm sorry, I'm hooked. They should have never made those. I'm so just add lemon. Oh my gosh. We don't drink soda too much, but those sugarless packages, now you can find them in the dollar stores. I get mine from Walgreens, but the dollar store ones, I don't know. They don't taste the same. Something is going on. I'm just trying to set it up so y'all can see. Y'all think, oh, well, what if it's true? Y'all are starting to drink the Kool-Aid. It's starting to get to you. You were holding the line. You know how you're playing tug of war? And you're pulling and you're asking all your people to hold the line. Yo, hold the line. Don't let go. We were all holding the line, but now I feel like some of y'all are drinking the Kool-Aid. I feel like some of y'all are starting to be affected and affected by what's in the media. If so many people are saying it, if he was drafted 5th round, maybe it's true. It's not true. Coach Prime came out and told y'all. Really? Shedeur Sanders. That kid that I have been rearing I've been raising for so long. I don't know if I can use rearing, right? That kid that is professional, media ready, he knows how to handle himself. Coach Prime is not in his ear telling him stuff. That kid, you said he wasn't prepared for the NFL, for the combine and interviews, and are you serious? That kid, Coach Prime said he was hurt. This is the same kid that now people are putting stuff out here. Charles Robinson is saying from Yahoo Sports, Wild Dog, what up with you? That this kid is going to be swimming mentally because the NFL system is so complex. 6 different offensive coordinators. His dad, one of the best in the game, mentally swimming. Nah. There's got to be something. Something is behind that. And I ain't trying to be no rah-rah whistleblower doing this, da. I'm just saying, something is behind this. But let me bring my guy on, man. Dallas is in the building. What up, Tim Smith? How you doing, my brother? Thank you for calling in. How you doing today?
Hey, what up with it, Harry, man? I'm doing well, brother. How about yourself?
I could be better, but this is really starting to heat me up.
I see.
Yo, these are fighting words. These are something that a daddy has to say something about. I think they're trying to bait Coach Prime. I want to get your thoughts on that.
I don't think Coach Prime should say anything.
Okay. Tell me why.
My reasoning for that is no different than any other parent. You know, he's a grown man. You know, you give your kids tools to navigate and walk through life. You have to trust those tools and those values that you instilled in them. So this is a path that Shedeur has to walk by himself. I could see if something just really, really, really outrageous that Coach Prime feel like he needs to step in as a father, but this right here, he didn't prep him and giving him the tools and still giving him the tools behind the scene that we don't see.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Coach Prime, you know, he's old school, so he don't need to put his business out there in the media for them to twist and turn it a million different ways. So he just called his son up. They have a one-on-one conversation, father and son. Hey, you know, blah, 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 blah. And that's it. He's still prepping him and guiding him. It's just not on the forefront for everybody to have their own opinions. But I don't feel like he should or even need to come out publicly and say anything. I wouldn't.
I kind of agree with you, but I think it's going to get to a fever pitch where Coach Prime is going to have to say something, because you can't keep trying to. When you say Sanders and you say mentally complex, mentally swimming and stuff, when you stepping on that guy's name, there's no way that guy he ain't feeling some kind of way. I know he's human. And y'all know how Coach Prime is. But I do agree with you that he is coaching Shador and that he shouldn't say anything. Because if you remember the fact that just the stuff that when he was on Samuel's show and he said I was hurt because how could the media say this about my child? They started to take that and run with it and started saying that Coach Prime, now he's coming out and he's speaking and stuff like that. And all he was just expressing that the fact that he was hurt. You feel me? So I feel like they are so ready to say to invoke Coach Prime so that they can say, see, I told you. Somebody wants a response. Somebody's baiting him to say something so that they can say, I told you that he was going to get involved.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but every action doesn't need a reaction. And
that is true.
Prime, he old school. He didn't been in this game for too long. And some of the people that's in these organizations are younger than him. So they think they know. There's some things that I want to say that also some pushback on that statement that Charles Robinson with Yahoo Sports wrote. And the young lady, I didn't catch her name that you had brought up earlier, one of Mary Kay friends. But remember when we talked about hidden agendas, people with hidden agendas, all this, everything that you talked about on your shows is coming to the forefront. You know what I mean? We knew it was going to happen. I'm not rattled by it. You know what I mean? He's still there in Cleveland, so I know people has hidden agendas. So, I mean, as long as he in practice and doing what he need to do, I kind of figured when everybody started talking about he's not getting reps with the ones, I knew something was going to surface up. I feel like, and this is my honest opinion, I feel like people nowadays are taking Donald Trump's playbook in every walk of life.
Break that down for me.
With the media.
Yeah, let me hear where you going with this one.
Okay. They picked it. Yes, he was a 5th rounder.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yes, they picked him in the 5th round. So do we know, and everybody else, even these people on Ultimate Cleveland show, some of these guys, they know Shador's talent. They know what he's capable of doing. But I'm going to say it like I said it on your last show. They're going to save face. They're not going to want to be wrong. So they're going to write up every little story that they can possibly write up on when it comes to Shador. They want to be right. That's why I think the lady, what's her name? What was the first lady that you talked about before Charles?
That I talked about, or was she on here?
Well, the one that was talking about Dylan Gabriel and he's more ready.
You talking about this girl right here? Let me see if I can. This girl right here. You talking about her?
Yes, her. Mary Kay's niece.
Well, that's her niece? I didn't even know.
No, that's not her niece. I'm just being
okay, you're entertaining. I get it.
Yeah. So, if you have enough people.
Hold on, let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Maybe we'll get. I think he introduces her.
So for over 17 years, I thought that I had a problem with this, but I actually didn't. And I want you to
read more into the article she wrote and Charles wrote. But this is a 50-second clip from Jory Epstein when she joined us last week.
So Jory, she's an Epstein. You ain't gonna forget that name.
Oh my God.
Joey Epstein.
Week, and then I'll read you guys the clips from Charles Robinson and Jory's article. This was Jory on UCSS last week.
I guess.
But the guys who need the most work right now are the rookies, and that's not a knock on them. That's because they don't have.
Don't she look like Kaylin Clark?
She
pro
does.
experience. And then I would even say that Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders arrive at the NFL with pretty different levels of foundations, not because of this is not about where they can go. This is about where they can come from. And where they came from is Dylan Gabriel played for 3 schools, all sorts of offenses. It really had a much wider range of foundation, in my opinion, in terms of the.
Yep.
Okay, listen to what she said. It's not where they can go, but it's where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
How is that? I mean, I thought you go to the next level to get better and develop your game to a whole nother level. So
hold that thought real quick. Hey, if you want to get on the show, guys, it's jointlplive@gmail.com. Hey, Wild Dog, I just sent you the link. So click on the link and you can come on the show. jointlplive@gmail.com to get on the show. All right, guys, email me. I'll send you the link right now and you can get on the show just like you hear Tim talking. You can get on the show. Go ahead, Tim.
I was going to say, it's like she just, everything that she's talking about, you can clearly see that she's rooting for Dylan Gabriel hard.
Yo, Mary Kay said the same thing. Mary Kay said that Shador, that's why I keep asking, where is this stuff coming from? And why is it that he gets to Cleveland and we start hearing it?
Okay.
This is like the first time we're hearing people say that Shador, they're not even mentioning that he played at Jackson State either. They're just saying, oh, no, he came from one school and da-da-da-da-da. Like,
right.
This guy cannot, it's almost like he doesn't know football.
I feel like this, man. This is really how I feel. The politics involved in it is real. And
I wonder who's behind it, though. Who is leaking this stuff?
I feel like they're writing their own analogies. They're coming up with that.
So?
Yes, I feel like they're coming up with
this is on them. This is not coming from somebody that's sitting in the cubicle saying, go Shador, and then be like, oh, he's slow. Say he's slow.
No, I don't think I don't think that. I just feel like they have a certain player that they really, really want to root for, which is Dylan Gabriel. But
why?
Also, I feel like they are taking the.
So Tim, listen to this. For you to want to root for Dylan Gabriel, you either had to have a preconceived notion of Shador, right? And you were one of those people who don't like him, or you didn't care either way, but it's either that or somebody is feeding you and giving you and saying, hey, I need this out there. We got to keep putting this out there because this is the propaganda machine. This is how it works because they're not the first people saying this. And you cannot tell me that you just seen Shador for OTAs and all of a sudden, all these years when all those people that know him, you all of a sudden saying that he's not mentally capable, that it's a narrative. Somebody is feeding a narrative.
I mean, somebody could be feeding a narrative in the shadows, but I think they just going off the notion of 5th round draft pick. I feel like they're going off the lines of 5th round draft pick. So they're right. I feel like her and Mary Kay are just writing all this crazy stuff.
This is lazy journalism.
It is, and it could be because of the owner overstepping the GM and the head coach and say, I want Shador. When in reality, the GM and the head coach may not have wanted him at all and would have let him, he would still be sitting on the board right now.
Yeah, that's right. I think if Cleveland doesn't pick him, he stays on that board.
He stays on the board. So with that being said, by not the head coach, the owner of the organization making that call could have put a sour taste from the GM all the way through the reporter's mouth.
That was in my opening monologue. I said that. That's what I'm thinking is happening.
Exactly. So with that said, that's why I say the politics aspect of it is like Donald Trump is at the forefront of the United States, and Jim Jordan is the senator from Ohio. he'll say and do it no matter what Donald Trump says, he's always going to agree with him.
So how are you linking these? How are you linking this to this story? To this?
I'm linking it because I'm linking them together is for the simple fact that the Cleveland Browns did not have a desire maybe to, and I'm speculating, a desire to draft Shador Sanders.
Well, it's not speculation because that's already out there. They said the owner, he was not on their board.
Exactly. So
and the owner made that phone call. That's what's been reported.
Right. So the owner, he's Donald Trump, and the rest of everybody else is the GM. He's Jim Jordan, and everybody else up under him just gonna follow suit. That's the way I feel. And
so you think that this is retaliation against the owner?
I think it could be retaliation against the owner, but I'm not 100% sure.
Let's bring on Wild Dog because he wants to join the conversation. He's been in the green room.
Okay.
Wild Dog, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing today? Thank you for calling in.
Hey, blessings, Harry B. Blessings, Tim. Blessings,
hey, what up, Wild Dog?
BWB bandwagon bus.
Wild Dog, man, listen. I hate to sell conspiracy stuff, but when you have a thread, when you have a narrative, when a narrative, for those of y'all who y'all hear narrative all the time, it's basically a story, right? Because I'm in filmmaking. When we read a narrative story or a narrative film, you know, we have a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's a narrative feature. You feel me? A narrative is short. It could be a narrative short as well. This seemed like a narrative short because you want to get the most impact in the shortest amount of time that you have. So this is a narrative short right here. We've heard it several times now from Mary Kay, from this girl, and then we're hearing it from the Yahoo guy. What is your thought on this, Wild Dog?
Yeah, Harry B. I mean, right now, I'm really about the community support. You know what I'm saying, man? Because on one point, I'm encouraged and thankful for your outrage because Shador and the fan base have been through enough already, right? So it's like if you got a voice, you gotta let it be heard because enough nonsense has already gone down, right? And then Tim is being straight with you because on one hand, there's a traditional football narrative that your draft position or your undrafted free agency kind of dictates your picking order. You know, you kind of where you're starting from, you know, when you come into the organization new. And then of course, you have the official, you know, Cleveland Browns media, which has their own spin, which I believe is founded in this. You got Flacco, you know, near retirement, Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's going to be unfazed by all the attention and things around Shador. You got Pickett, a number one draft pick, whose trajectory as a number one draft pick is secured.
Number one on the first round.
First round, and he has, I believe he was early first round, but he has a Super Bowl ring. You get where I'm going with this? So, you know, a lot of the, you know, echoing of what I'm hearing is like, and even online a bit is the insulating and the concern around Dylan Gabriel, because as a rookie, as someone, you know, fighting for a position, he's most susceptible. You know, he's literally most susceptible to any flex, you know, around Shador, and even Shador, you know, overachieving as a fifth rounder. So a lot of this, oh, Dylan looks better, this and that. It's part of that narrative that, oh, we need to protect and insulate our third round pick.
That's what. Okay, see the fact that you say that, Wild Dog, it's making sense because it's like, okay, hold up. We put everything on the line for this third rounder. We didn't have the money for a first rounder.
Nope.
So but we put everything on the line for this third rounder, and the fifth rounder comes in and showing him up. So now we're not going to give him the first team reps, because if we do that and he shows up, the writers are going to write about that. So we're going to do it behind the scenes. If we give him any first round reps or first team reps, we're going to do it behind the scenes. We don't want the media to get a hold of this. Like you said, they're insulating. I didn't even think about that fact that they're trying to insulate their third round pick, because somebody's going to lose their job if Shedeur, the fifth rounder, you left him on that board from whatever gripe, or that means that you didn't know what you were doing. Because now this fifth rounder comes in here and he outplays your third rounder. So now all of this stuff, Dillon Gabriel has more brains, and he can pick this stuff up fast because he's had 3 different schools, and Shedeur's only played for Colorado, even though he came from Jackson State from 2 years. They're not even mentioning that. And he had 2 OCs over there. They're not even mentioning that. So it's like,
they're even at the Heisman, right? When Hunter won, they said FCS. They did not acknowledge that it was a HBCU.
Right.
So just the whole media as a body, if they can avoid mentioning Jackson State or even mentioning he came from a HBCU, yeah, that's a big overall issue there from the get-go.
That's a whole nother thing. But let's
for a lot of these old heads, Shedeur only has two years. That's all they know. That's all they care about. That's all they're going to consider is his 2 years at CU. So to them, he only has 2 years experience compared to Dillon Gabriel's 6.
Which then makes sense on the other part that you're saying, like some of this could be, and I think Tim said the same thing as well. Some of this could be the fact that these people are just making up their own minds based. It was Tim that said that, based on the fact that they're just analyzing what they perceive Shedeur's journey is, and they don't really know his journey. They just think like, oh, he was at CU for 2 years, and that's all the experience he got. So. And then they're coming up with this stuff like, oh, there's no way that he's going to be out of Pat Shermer's system. He ain't going to be knowledgeable enough. He's going to be mentally swimming, So all of this stuff, it is plausible. What Tim said, now that makes a little bit more sense to me for that narrative as well. But then when you said Dillon Gabriel's being insulated, that's making a lot of sense. So you guys are really cooking tonight. And let's listen to a little bit of what the show had to say based on this, even though we've covered a lot of it already.
The headline of the article was this: Shedeur Sanders can overlap. Sanders has to learn the Browns offense and then learn how to speak it, and quickly, so that he can get to the line of scrimmage and make his pre-snap reads. That was Charles Robinson.
So Mike, when you sent the rundown to us,
yes, the Jory's quote real quick before we do that.
All right, go ahead.
And then Jory, who wrote an article on the Browns quarterback battle, we heard what she said about Shedeur in the clip. She wrote more about Dillon Gabriel and his perspective in terms of picking up the offense. She said, quote,
"Oh, that's her Gabriel's name. Jory, Jori, Jory Epstein.
Acclamation has impressed the Browns deeply. His high-level processing and 6-year college foundation has readied him to be treated in some ways basically like a veteran," Andrew Berry said. Reese praised Gabriel as a player who you don't ever need really to correct him twice. The first team reps he received in minicamp reflected his grasp with a Wednesday red zone needle threaded to receiver Jalen Gill in the back of the end zone.
Reflected his quick grasp. Let's make sure we said quick, because that's important. Reflected in his quick grasp, as opposed to the slow bird with Shedeur.
The type of anticipation the Browns want to see from the room. She went on to call his processing like a machine.
Hi, I'm Brett. And I'm Jonathan.
No, that's a lot,
this
man.
Is Darla.
That is a lot they're saying.
All right, now, first of all, most of what was said by both of them, outside of the Andrew Berry quote at the end on Dillon Gabriel.
Again, let me just make this clear. This is not the official organization, but for people that is out there, especially Browns fans that are now in my comments and they want that smoke. They don't really know me, but they don't know that I want the smoke. So thank you for the smoke, because it's about to be a barbecue, because Dallas is in the building. Don't forget that. Anyway, And Waldo, aren't you in Texas also?
Yeah. Yes.
I got 2 Texas guys, and we about to barbecue. We about to cook, okay? So stop playing with me. Anyway, keep in mind that even though it's not an official, it is not an official statement from the organization, that's not how this stuff works. All right? I want everybody to please understand that. And let me change my screen real quick so I can say this so people can understand me. Even though it's not an official statement, it's from Yahoo Sports. It's stuff that people are taking quotes from people within the organization. So when you start seeing this narrative that's going on, where people are starting to sound the same, he's not processing well, that's their story. So somebody is giving them this idea that they're putting out there, and it ain't going to directly come from the organization. Just know that the organization would never put anything out like that unless they're ready to like, this is straight up, that C word. That S word. But anyway, let's keep going.
The rest of it is just speculation. None of it is based on inside information.
The quote, that quote was from inside.
Charles Robinson saying, well, Shedeur has a lot to pick up off the field. He may. I don't know. I have no idea how much he needs to pick up. I don't know him personally. I'm not in the locker room. I have no clue. But he's just giving an opinion. He's not stating that as a fact. He said, in fact, he says in his, how would he know it is a fact? And he's not even citing, he's not like,
okay. Guys that are on this panel, Ty Smith and Wild Dog. If you have an opinion, right, you come off and you're trying to form an opinion, why is his mental processing the thing that everybody is coming out with? And let me go to Ty Smith first. Why, if you're going to form an opinion based on everything that you have at your arsenal to put out there, if somebody didn't give this to you, why would that be the thing that everybody is saying? Ty, you still here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Why in the world would 3 beat writers, 3 reporters come out with the same narrative? How is that possible?
I think that it falls back in line with what I just said earlier. He was picked in the 5th round, and I feel like
everybody's drinking this 5th round tea. Is that what it is?
That's what I'm assuming. Everybody's on that 5th. Well, I put it to you like this: everybody that was drafted in the 5th round has never done what Shedeur Sanders have done. So, in your last show, we talked about, yes, he's drafted in the 5th round, but he was on everybody's mock draft as 1 or 2 in the 2025 draft. But he slid to the 5th round. But he's not your typical 5th rounder, is what I'm saying. He's not your typical 5th rounder, but they're playing off the notion of all the other 5th rounders that was drafted in the NFL previous years. That's my logic of thinking.
Okay, Wild Dog, your thoughts. Why are 3 reporters coming up with the same narrative? If you're trying to form, if this is not inside information, quote unquote, if you're formulating an opinion, how can 3 different people have the same talking point?
Just like the same content creators can have the same talking point. You listen to each other, you follow each other, you respect each other's work, right? Mm-hmm. And these guys all know each other. They all have the same conventions and meetings together. And even though one might be associated over here with this newspaper or this podcast or this website, they might work for the same umbrella company. When I've got media friends, we go have lunch together, cross networks, cross radio stations, we all breaking bread together. You know what I'm saying? So almost like politicians, they're on one side or the other, but they're all friends. They've all known each other for decades, right? And when they're at odds with each other, that's all a lot of times just superficial for the benefit of the constituents to get votes or to get certain support for what they're doing. But in the end, they all know each other. Hell, they even family members. George W. Bush and Barack Obama are cousins, but nobody talks about it. Yet one is a Democrat and one is a Republican.
Yeah, but they ain't never been to no barbecue together.
Yes, they have.
Oh, they have?
There's photos. You can look it up online right now. A young Barack Obama and a young George W. Bush hanging on the golf course, hanging out here and there. Yeah, they knew each other. It ain't just some happenstance, this a DNA, and they never met. No, they knew each other. So I'm just giving you the scenario with these,
So
with the journalists and the reporters.
You're thinking this is some type of happenstance where they all know each other, but people sell headlines or they sell their whatever they're selling by their uniqueness of whatever opinions they have. So it's not advantageous to be a copycat in the media. You want to formulate your own kind of thoughts, right? I don't want to sound like Big Dog Chico. I don't want to sound like Swisher Real for basketball, right? I don't want to sound like anybody else. I want to sound like myself. So it's like what am I? How can three? You know what? Let's just keep listening. I want to hear more because I want to get.
Well, Harry B, let me make one more point if I can.
Go ahead.
Before we go too far, but having played football, right, and played for different schools and different coaches and organizations, right, and okay, if I say, Tim, go to New York and meet Harry B at the subway, but I don't want everybody to know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of saying Tim, I might say Timmy. Instead of New York, I might say Big Apple. Instead of Subway, I might say the Underground, right? Instead of saying Harry B, I might say the Liberian, right?
Mm-hmm.
But whether I'm using those code words, or if I say it in plain English, I'm saying the exact same thing, Harry, right?
That's just lazy reporting, though. That just sounds like somebody who doesn't want to do the work.
No, I'm not talking about reporters. I'm talking about the coaching scheme thing. The knock on Shadour's mental, right? It's not that complex. It takes time, but it's not that complex. So I'm saying the same thing. So you go from a different coach, a different person, and you're telling Tim Smith to go to New York and meet Harry B at the subway. You might use different nicknames or call names, but the location and the essential function of it is the same, Harry B. It is the same.
I'm missing what you're saying.
So this knock is BS. I'm trying to do the best I can to explain.
I know you don't. Yeah, I know this knock is. I'm just trying to get. I'm trying to make sense of it.
So Cam Newton does a much better job of it, right? You got this long 30-second play that you're calling out, right? But most of it is who, when, and where.
Exactly.
The play, the core of the play, you got it right away.
Right. Right. We talked about this on the show. We talked about this, but you add bananas, you add sugar cane, you add fried beans, because banana is the wide receivers, sugar cane is the tight ends. So when you say banana, sugar cane, fried beans, everybody's getting their instructions.
It's not brain surgery.
That's what I'm saying.
And if you don't have time with the first team reps, well, hell, you don't know who's who on first team reps.
Exactly.
So why are you calling a man out for something that he's not even had the opportunity to even learn?
That's exactly what I'm trying to.
This is some good old boy nonsense. This is the same kind of nonsense they would say about black quarterbacks to keep them out. Go be a wide receiver, go be a DB. You don't have the mental acumen to understand this terminology.
Right. That's why I'm like, they're using this to say this is the reason why he's not taking first team reps, because he's too slow to process. So Stefanski is trying to slow down the system for him by giving him second and third team, because mentally he's not ready to handle the first team. And I'm lost in my daggone mind, and I'm sitting here like, Are you kidding me? You're crazy?
Who's been getting all the first team reps?
So they're saying that Dylan Gabriel is more.
Pickett and Dillon should be up to speed more because they've been working with the first team reps using the first team code language.
Dude, I'm telling you, this stuff is so complex. The way that they're trying to do this thing. But let's listen to more of this.
But it will sell, Harry. It will sell. They'll get readers. They'll get clicks. It will sell.
I know it will. I know it will. And it's selling because I'm covering it. Let's go.
Sources tell me or anything like that. He's just giving an opinion that a lot of people thought that Shador's offense made him more NFL ready. And his thought is not so fast. That offense didn't necessarily make him NFL ready. He's not even saying that he's not NFL ready. In fact, he did say he thinks he's physically ready. He's speculating he might not be. And I think a lot of the speculation of people saying, well, maybe he's not ready behind the scenes, which may or may not be true. I think a lot of that's being said, guys, because he's not getting first team reps. Exactly. Now, that might mean nothing, but I think that's why people are speculating that maybe he's got further to go in terms of that type of stuff. Well, but it's all just speculation.
When we talked about it last week, I said that could be that to me is the only reason why he ain't getting first team reps. Because, like I said, when you turn the tape on, it's clear as day. Anybody that see it is clear as day from him throwing the ball. But if it is, the only thing that could possibly be holding him back would be the playbook and how he's able to process it. I wouldn't necessarily say on the field he's slow processing because, as you can see, whether he know everything or not, he still is going to the right spot with the football. And everybody is saying, well, this is a guy that's not even taking check downs. He's throwing 20 yards down the field on a dig route. So it's not the processing of all of that. He when the ball is snapped, when he on the field, he understands everything.
But don't let that get over your head. He's throwing the ball 20 yards down the field on the dig route. You ain't supposed to have the time to be throwing no 20 yards on no dig route. You know, in my lower limited football knowledge, right? Like you ain't supposed to be able. You're supposed to do a check down on those dig routes. Like, so stop playing with me.
Yeah, 0.5 seconds. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But his arm is jelly, so he ain't supposed to be able to do that on the dig route. 20 yards down the field, like, so if he's processing that fast, yo, I gotta calm down to be able to present this stuff to people that they're like, yo, come on, African, your accent is getting in the way and you're yelling and calm down. I gotta calm down, guys. I'm sorry. This is I don't football wise, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Sometimes I lay in my bed and I'm supposed to go to bed and wake up at 4:30 on my prayer days, my morning prayer days. If I'm not doing the morning prayer, which is tonight, got to go spend some time with my wife when she tells me she's ready, just to give her my ears, because tomorrow is 5:00 in the morning. I lay up in the bed and I'm like, dang, what am I missing? What am I missing? What I know about Shador? Am I missing something? Because these people are talking crazy, and I'm trying to be that guy that is not closed-minded, that don't have my Shador shades on so thick that I can't see clearly. But then I always come to the same conclusion. Nah, they're crazy. It ain't me that's crazy. I know they're crazy because this guy is saying it right here. Let me go back to the screen. I think I was playing it without y'all seeing it. Y'all heard the audio, right?
Yeah, we heard the audio.
Okay.
Now, the verbiage and the terminology, I give you that. That could be the thing. If you go all the way back to what the Giants was talking about, that was the issue in the big Giants.
So he's buying it. He's buying it too. The verbiage and the thing that could be. He did say could be. He didn't say it was. He said it could be if we're following the narrative that the Giants were also putting out there. So for his sake, he's saying maybe there is a percentage of this that could be true. We don't know.
Hey, Harry,
he didn't know.
Yeah.
I looked at this after you posted what you posted earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I went and checked it out, but there's more into it as we listen to him talk from the NFL perspective to a college perspective. The way plays are called in college versus the ways that plays are called in the NFL.
No, I get that, but keep in mind when we say basic scheme and we start saying he's going to be mentally swimming, and we say just for him to get the basic terminology, like if this thing was that complex and this good, this should be winning a lot more games because Flacco got it, right? Flacco got it. What's the other guy name? Watson got it, and they couldn't win with this complex thing. I don't think this thing is this complex. I think they're full of crap, and I want to say the S word.
Yeah, they are. They full of. I think I'm not going to.
Tim, you say it for me, please.
No, I can't say it. They full of crap, and
they're all full of crap, man.
You know, because it's something that he's going to say that stood out to me with the wristbands, but I'll let him explain that part. So it can't be that complex,
right?
To where you're not giving him a shot
at the first team
with the first team. So therefore, that's why I go back to my original statement of I just feel like, you know, the black ball is continuing to roll. That ball haven't stopped. Pause. Roll.
Yes.
Shantae, what up, girl? Hope all is well. Personal name, what up with you? Jemiah Robinson, what's up with you? Carnivore Sisters, what up with you? Motivated, dedicated, what up with you? Simply Sarah, what's up with you? Thank you all you guys that are in the chat. Salute to all of y'all. Let's keep going. Let's take a little bit more.
The terminology and the verbiage that they were using. I told you when I came out, I had that exact same problem. I didn't say it the same way. My college said it a certain way. The NFL said it a different way. And I was confused of the two because I'm so used to saying it my way. So for him, that's a learning curve. The more he's around it.
But why can Dylan get it and he can't? Like, that is the thing that there's two rookies here. You're saying one can and the other can. And it all has to do with not being around that system before, but you now have a new system. So you're telling me you want to sell me a story to say that Dylan Gabriel is very astute because he had different OCs, which Shador had 6. Because you're telling me that because he played in the Big Ten and because he's a different color from Shador, maybe a little lighter from Shador, you're telling me he's able to get that faster than Shador?
Hey, Harry, some I will say this. You do have some individual, everybody does not learn the same.
Right.
That's number one. Some processes things faster than others. That's factual.
But yeah, but no, we get that, Tim. But here's the thing. If you're speculating, why is that the speculation for Shador and not for Dylan? Because they're not saying that this is what the organization is saying. They're saying they're extrapolating information from their college and saying this stuff. So if this is just speculation, why are you levying this speculation on Shador and not Dylan Gabriel?
Because that's all what he has done in OTAs and minicamp. This is the only thing that they can fall back on. So
they can't talk about the game on the field, and they need something.
They need something to make themselves be right. I don't know why I keep saying this 100 times. They are trying to save face.
So that means if you're going to say that statement, Tim, then that means you got to stand on the fact that it has to be Stefanski and the GMs leaking this information. That's the only way this makes sense. The GM or Stefanski has to be the ones leaking this because they're the only ones that need to save face. Nobody else in that organization needs to save face for choosing Dylan, shorty Lord Dylan Gabriel, who's like 4'6", you know what I'm saying, coming up on 5 feet on a good day. Like, come on.
So you're saying, just so I can have a clear understanding of what you're saying, Harry. So you're saying that the GM or the head coach are the ones saying, hey, y'all put this out? Or because I know Mary Kay, she's in the building.
Right.
She got eyes for herself, so she's watching the same thing. So
Harry B and Tim, you got public relations that handle the media.
That too. Exactly.
It's somebody's job. It's somebody's job. It's somebody's job to coach the owner. It's somebody's job to coach the GM. somebody's job, PR, to coach when they go to these press conferences.
No. But listen, I get that part. Wild dog. Listen to this. If you want something in the media, you're not going to give it to the PR person. If your dirty work is not done through the PR department, your dirty work is done behind the scenes. You're handing a napkin. You're taking a napkin. You're like,
but you're talking about a secondary staff member, somebody that's got their own opinion, their own agenda, that would do something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, Phil Jackson used to do this all the time. This is on record. If Phil Jackson wants something in the media, he will hand it to us. He will leak it to a reporter. You've seen these movies where somebody's going to lunch at those Brooklyn bodegas, right? And they're sitting over there and they're like, yeah, da. Next thing you know, this reporter goes off. They write their story. Yes, this is not. I ain't talking crazy woo-woo stuff.
No. You're not talking crazy. My opinion is I would think it's more likely to be like, position coach or quarterback coach who has, one idea of narrative of what he's doing or saying than the other.
Person that needs to say face. Because based upon what Tim is saying, the people that need to say face are the GM and the coach.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of
exactly. Because
it's the whole because that draft room had like 30 people in it.
What you mean? What?
The draft room had at least 24 people in it.
No. We're talking about the people making the decisions. The decision makers are the ones that have to eat the draft. So it's not the people that the cronies that have to go do the running around. It's the people at the helm that have to eat that. Because if Shador, your fifth rounder that you did not want, and that the owner had to make that phone call to reprimand you, if that's happening, now you gotta say face. You gotta tell the owner why you left Shador on that board for that long instead of drafting him ahead of Shador. If he comes and he performs way better than Shador, then you got to answer for that.
Hey, I look at it like this, Harry. The GM and the head coach has to prove to the owner that they got it right.
Exactly.
If the owner had to make that pick and Shador is your day one starter, that means that we no longer need we don't need you as our GM and we don't need you as our head coach because clearly you don't know what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing.
And then guys, I mean, I strongly believe that that's a balancing act, right? Tim, you're right, but at the same time, the owner's the owner. The owner's the boss, and they have to pacify the owner.
Well, yeah.
So the
owner made the pick, so why would you pacify?
Right, the owner made the pick,
making the pick, you're pacifying the owner. Hey, I like to get Shador. Then you're pacifying the owner by going ahead and getting Shador.
Right.
Shador,
you don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice.
You have no choice if the owner said, I want Shador.
Right, and if Shador is looking good, right, and the owner comes sniffing around like, hey, why isn't my guy moving up? Right, then we go into whole scenarios with the narrative on why.
But that's exactly Wild Dog. That's what me and Tim are trying to say.
But we're coming full circle with it, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
right. So somebody's passing that napkin. Somebody's passing that napkin and be like, "Yo, say that Shador's not mentally ready. Say Shador. Say this in the media. Give me something." And the
owner's intelligent, but he's an old head. Oh well, yeah, that makes sense. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Until the owner gets his chance. If Shador get a chance to play in the preseason, to see it live, and Shador balls out, then regardless of what the GM and the head coach may have told the owner, he may look at them like
y'all crazy.
Y'all been lying to me this whole time.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
At some point,
Charles, Steven Charles, what up with you? Hope all is well. Anonymous, what up? Alpha J, what up with you? Go ahead.
At some point, I could see the owner being like, "Hey, you know what I'm saying? Pull the trigger and say, start Shador." That may be what it come down to, and that very well, in my opinion, that's the best scenario. Go ahead and run through, Pickett, Gabriel, Flacco, and to where it's obvious. Like someone earlier was saying, hey, on one hand, we don't want so much hate that, Shador is treated unfairly, but at the same time, we don't want it to smell of any kind of favoritism at all either, right? And we know the Browns have had to start
that first team because the second,
the Browns have had to use multiple quarterbacks, so Shador is going to get his start.
No.
It's a matter. It's a matter of when.
You don't want the fan base, especially the Shador, the Machete Bible Toting fan base. You don't want them to get a sniff of Shador beasting out with the first team or doing exactly what he's doing with the second and third team. If we sniff that, do you understand what we would be saying? If the media that's already saying what they're saying about Shador, if this sniff that Shador is on the first team and he's handling business and Dillon Gabriel is getting his ball smacked down, if the fan base and the media sniff that, it's a wrap.
If the owner gets sight of that on film, it's a wrap.
It didn't already happen. It didn't already happen. Dillon Gabriel got his ball batted down by the third string. He went in with the ones, and he couldn't even hold his own, hitting a bunch of check downs.
And I heard
it may not even get you 2 yards.
Yeah, I heard Myles Garrett, right, did a gut check on Dillon, and Dillon just threw the ball into the ground.
See, that's what I said on the last show. When he went with the ones, he was knocking 20 yards of dirt out the ground because that's how many times he was throwing the ball in the ground. When he tried to, when he was with the threes, he got his ball batted down. When he was with the twos, he got his ball intercepted. So Shador,
but that's what we're talking about now with this whole scenario. Like, I've been pulling my hair out. Like, if you're going to report interceptions on everybody. Report it all correctly. This is all part of the narrative.
Right, but Joe Flacco hasn't even.
Shador's not the only one that threw an interception. He threw one interception. You got multiple interceptions by Gabriel and Pickett.
Exactly, and Pickett looked the worst. Pickett looked the worst. Joe Flacco ain't even really going with
Flacco
the ones because of what he can do.
Flacco had to take too many reps. He doesn't need them.
No, he doesn't. And to me, Joe Flacco is the best quarterback in that room.
Veteran. He's the veteran. Ain't nobody complaining about Joe Flacco being the starter day one. We don't even want Shador to be the starter day one. If whatever they're saying, listen, let Flacco start. We know he crashes out after 8 games. We know that. Like, he has not played that many games. Like, in a full, played a full season. It hasn't happened. But anyways, let's finish this real quick, guys.
The more he does it, the more he says it. Obviously, he's gonna pick up on it.
Go ahead. Keep it short so we can finish this thing.
Motivated and dedicated. Won't you call into the show?
What are they saying?
Man, I've already done put him in this place today, but he keeps chasing his tail like a rabid dog.
But go ahead.
He won't have the balls. He won't have the balls to come up, Harry.
Hold on. Forget about balls. Let's. So if Dillon doing so bad, how come Shador got 0 first team snaps? If you're paying attention to the show, this is what we're discussing. This is exactly what we're talking about. The different narratives. Do you see how people are trying to portray Shador in the media? You see what they're saying about Shador? He doesn't control that. Shador does not control that. So somebody got to come out and let us know, is the stuff that's coming from Yahoo, from Mary Kay, from Epstein. It's kind of weird to say her name. It's this
Epstein dog. Ew.
Right, the Epstein files. It's the stuff that's coming from the Epstein files. I mean, is that coming from the team? Is the team putting that out? Shador doesn't control that. He can only control what's in front of him, what they give him. And keep in mind, we talked about earlier in the show that Coach Prime is probably giving him advice. Like, yo, just play, just ball out, be quiet, say the right things, move like this. Coach Prime is coaching him. He's already coached him. I don't think Coach Prime is even coaching him at this point. He's just saying play. Go do your thing. Keep a low profile and go do your thing. He did have one coach. What's the name? Response, and I'll tell you what that is. In his press conference, when as soon as they asked him about his dad, he was ready with the answer. At that point, I was like, okay, this is something that they practice. If anybody asks anything about Coach Prime or Deion Sanders, shut it down right away. Because he shut it down right away. He shut Mary Kay down. She was like, oh, with your father, X-Y. He was like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm focused on this here football. That is a practice response. And I can tell you that for sure, for fact. But let's keep going. But yeah, I'm motivated. Like, you're asking an obvious question, like, oh, Dylan is better. You cannot say that Dylan is better because he's getting first team reps. That's not how this works. We don't know why. You don't know why. And we don't know why Shadour's not getting first team reps. And you can't just say, oh, because he's better. When Dylan is playing with the second and third teams, you see the results that he's putting up, and you see the results that Shadour's putting up. You can tell who's better, who's more accurate, and who more people are talking about, who the media is saying is more accurate when they're face-to-face. So if you're saying, oh, he's better, excuse me, that's why he's getting first-team reps, it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't add up on tape. Just watch the tape, and you can answer your own question. We don't got to answer that for you.
But still, even with all that said, I still think he still deserved the rep with the ones because, like I said, even Charles Davis said at the beginning of his quote, physically, Charles Robinson at the beginning of his quote, he physically looks ready. So even if he doesn't understand the terminology, and I understand Kevin Stefanski coming out and saying, oh yeah, we have a certain way that we're doing things. Don't look into the reps and all of those things. And if him running with the fours is his way of slowing the pace down extremely so he can try to get in and out the huddle and all those things, okay, cool. But at the end of the day, I still need to see him with the ones to see what he look like. Give him a wristband or something like that. Let him go out there, read it off the thing, and just go out there and let him throw the ball with the ones. Because at the end of the day, you got from now until game one to get him up to speed on the terminology. That's something that could be fixed. But
I keep telling this to my patients, but the truth is drugs like Flomax, finasteride, tamsulosin.
As far as him getting reps with ones and getting chemistry with people, that's not something you could just throw out there at the last minute and think he's just going to pick it up. So to me, that's why it's like at some point you need to put him with the ones, especially if he's physically ready for the part. Because I can tell you every other quarterback in this draft, outside of maybe Dylan Gabriel, apparently, I think they all going to struggle a little bit with the terminology because it's different. Unless your OC was under this head coach or OC in the NFL, the terminology is going to be different. So at that point, to me, that's still bogus. That's still not a good reason to why he hasn't gotten one rep.
Right. Perfect. Right there. That final thing I wanted to get to, it's you got to understand that, like, you're telling me that Dylan Gabriel came from Oregon and somehow Dan Lanning got him prepared for the Cleveland Browns, Stefanski's system? And Shador coming from an HBCU going to Colorado is not mentally, he's not able to grasp that. And that's the reason why we're keeping him off the first team. And also, these are supposed to be the best of the best of the best out of the college ranks. So we're slowing the game down by giving him the third and fourth string guys. These guys are not also trying to make this team. So them being slow, like how is it advantageous for them to be slow? If anything, they would be fast. They have to act, they have to show up, they have to be hungry. The first team guys know that this is OTAs and this is just stuff that they're just progressing. They're not going to try to get themselves hurt. Follow my thinking here, guys. This is preseason. This is prior to the preseason. The first team guys are not going full speed because there ain't nobody about to mess up their money before the season starts by going full speed in pajamas and shorts. So the guys that will be going full speed and going much higher, much faster are the guys that are trying to make the team. And
the rookies and the free agents.
The free agents, the undrafted free agents are the ones that will be going much faster because they're trying to make the team. The first
and
team is
sleeping with
not
the playbook. Yeah, and they're sleeping with the playbook. So plays are being called, Harry. They're not just out there doing, playground stuff.
Right.
Savansky's plays are being called, and Savansky's plays are being ran. It's just the nuance of the codes on who and where, but you got, a free agent doesn't have a code name. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Right.
And there's not going to be any quirk adjustments in the routes based on the defense because you're not first, second string. You're not first string. But his plays are being called.
Why would it be advantageous for you to be preparing your quarterbacks for him to take a snap, right? It's like the vice president, right? The vice president is going to take, if anything was to ever happen to the president, the vice president has to step in there and take over and be able to do that job, right?
Yes, exactly.
The backups, you're not going to be in practice, in OTAs or whatever, minicamp, whatever. You're not going to be in practice, slowing down the playbook, calling a whole nother set of plays slower for your backup because eventually you are going to step into a real game situation if anything was to happen to those old guys. So how is it that we're calling slower plays or we're slowing it down with the second and third team? Somebody make that make sense for me.
I think that it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me, for the simple fact that when Shador was in college, he had 2 different OCs, so he had to learn 2 different playbooks in a short amount of time. So, like the gentleman was saying on the Cleveland show, give him a wristband. Who else did we see wear a wristband a lot of the times? When he came to Tampa, Tom Brady. You give him that.
Yes, sir.
You give him that wristband,
right?
Because if you listen at more of the conversation, he says that they're sending them out with 2 plays, and they have to read off the defense. Versus in college, if he need to audible into a different play, everybody will look to the sideline to get their assignments. But in the NFL, it's totally different. You got to be the captain on that ship by yourself. But why not give him a wristband and send him out with the plays with the ones just to get a feel of how he does with the ones in that ones group.
Exactly. It doesn't make sense for you to tell me, oh, we're going to keep him away. He's the only one in this quote-unquote quarterback competition. We're going to keep him away from the real play calling, the fast stuff, keep him slow, but there is a chance that when a game situation comes along, he'll be ready. I don't know.
Because I'm going to speculate.
What kind of warm thinking is that?
Because I'm going to speculate too. The media wants to speculate. This wants to speculate. I'm going to speculate that the day Shador gets a day with the ones, it's over.
That's what I'm saying.
Because like we're saying, the playbook is being used. Advanced playbook is being used. The plays are being called. Now, what's not being called are the codes. What's not being called are audibles. But the plays are being called and the plays are being ran.
The same play.
That's nuanced stuff.
Right. The same plays are being called.
Right?
It's the same plays that are being called. And it's not no slower version of these plays. It's not a modified version of these plays. It's the same plays that are being called. But you change the code because when you get to the first team, the running backs group, the tight ends group, they're going to have their own different codes. Right. So
and even players.
Right.
So it's like, Timmy on the X. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's part of this long-winded, play call. Everything is covered. Who, what, when, and where in the play. On top of the play, you got who, what, when, and where.
Right. And that's the stuff. Like once I leave this show tonight, I'm gonna be dealing with somebody in the comments, just like Motivated somebody. They're gonna be like trying to, oh, Shador sucks. He's blah 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 blah, and I'm like, you're lucky I'm not live because then I can speak my mind. But let me bring on him. Him wants to join the show. Him, thank you for calling in. Him,
Welcome,
welcome, man. Thank you for calling in. How you doing today?
Welcome. Blessings.
What's up, bro? Hey, Harry, if before I get started, don't listen to Motivated Dedicated. He's a 12 prime hater. He bumps around from channel to channel doing the same thing. So don't get your blood pressure worked up for him because he's doing what he normally do.
But thank him for his service, though.
Yeah, that's what he do. But I come up to say, what's going on in Cleveland? It's a war going on in Cleveland right now. And the war consists of the war consists of the media and the locker room. The white media is going for Dylan Gabriel. They're trying to push the narrative, and they trying to
you coming in hot. You coming in with racial stuff.
Listen to me. They're trying to push the narrative. They're trying to save the GM and the head coach and whoever made that third round pick decision. So yeah, they're gonna put Gabriel out there. He might start the preseason before Shador. He's gonna get all the reps. He's gonna have every opportunity that he can possibly get to get a position and be good. Now, once he start messing up in live games and preseason during practices, then Shador gonna get his chance. But right now, Shador, he's behind the 8 ball because of where he was drafted. So it don't matter what he can do. He can go 100% in practice. He can be perfect. Until they play preseason, he's not gonna move in front of Shador. I mean, in front of Dylan Gabriel. That just is what it is, bro.
But hold up. See, the thing is, I've already explained that whole draft process, so I know that, and I'm fully fine with that. I have no issue understanding that. Remember, I made a video and I said, where's going to be the reps? Where's Shador's reps coming from? It's not like college where you can be out there for 2 to 3 hours. You cannot do that. You cannot do that by NFL rules. So I get that part, and I'm fine with that. Now, here's the thing. If the coach and the OC, they come out there and they say, oh, this is an open competition, and even the owner, they come out there, the GM says it's an open competition and it's anybody's job. If that's the case, then let it be a fair competition. Give everybody equal reps, or give them reps at each phase of the office. So don't let it be an unfair competition where one person is lopsidedly getting like 83 reps, and Shador's only getting such and such reps. So that means that what you're saying is it's not an open competition. Somebody's lying to us. And I've never had an organization this blatantly like lying to us. Like, we know they lie to us, but at the end of the day, I mean, you want to hide certain things, but you're not going to ever say this is an open competition. I've never, even with the Giants and the Jets, my teams, if this says it's an open competition, you will see them openly competing. But Cleveland is this warped thing. It's like this weird thing. We're hearing through the media, Shador, he can't think right. Shador's mind is not right. He can't take reps. And the reason why they're trying to hire him from the first team reps is because they're trying to protect him. What are we talking about?
But see, Harry, the war started now because all that what you're saying is true, what they're saying. But you got people like Shady McClure. I don't know if you watched the Facility, the show on FS1.
Yes, I do. Yes.
He got ties. So Deuce Staley, I'm going to break it down to you. Deuce Staley is the Cleveland Brown running backs coach. He got ties. If you watch the show, well, Ocho Cinco just came out and said Denzel Ward told him, but Shady been saying coaches and players in the facility, in the Cleveland Browns facility, is telling me that Shador looks the best. He's been saying it for about 2 weeks. But now people are since Ocho Cinco came out and said Denzel Ward, this stand-up guy who don't really talk too much, maybe Ocho Cinco was wrong for revealing who said that, but now that that's out, people starting to understand, okay, the locker room is saying that Shador is the best quarterback. It's not the fuck with the media, or excuse my French. Forget what the media and all the other people talking about. The players in the locker room.
On that show, he was like, oh, dang, I shouldn't have said the name. You talking about that show?
Yeah, Ocho Cinco. Yeah, Ocho Cinco. But
on Nightcap, he said that on Nightcap.
Shady McCord never said a name. He just keeps saying players and coaches because you know he worked for FS1, so he can't just say anything.
And I'll double down.
Go ahead, bro.
And I'll double down. I've heard before I forget. I'll double down because I heard on 2 different podcasts, 2 different voices confirmed Browns veterans saying they prefer Shador already.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a fact.
So the vets are coming out saying, like you said, Harry, stuff leaks out, this and that. But a lot of times it could be a coach if he wants to get something out. But players and staff members, if they have their preferences or narratives, they'll leak it out one way or another and get it out there saying, hey, I can't say anything officially, but look, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's not only that, it's that you got players that were good that's work in the media now, and they're not afraid to say stuff like old media used to be saying. Shady McCoy and Ocho Cinco been loud players, so they're gonna speak their mind regardless. And that's what the media and
those who are active in the organization, like an active player.
There you go. Yeah.
So look, so that's the thing, right? We're hearing all of that, but we're still being labeled the weird ones. We're the delusional Shador fans that don't understand that he was drafted 5th round and that he does not understand the playbook, and that we are the ones that's crazy that don't know that he's slow and he needs help. When I leave this show, I'm telling you, the second I leave the show and I turn the cameras off and I leave the studio, I go on my phone and I start communicating and I start interacting with people on different platforms or even on my own comments. And I'm like, I get exhausted trying to defend this thing. And it's a little harder to do when you're typing.
There's 2 of us.
People are trying to score points. They're trying to hit you as hard as they can with as many words as they possibly can. And they type this long, convoluted crap that doesn't make any sense. And they're saying they're speaking facts and you're a delusional Shador fan. And I'm like, because you think you said something and you just wrote a whole bunch of stuff, it doesn't make it facts that you're right and what everybody else is saying is wrong.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, Harry B. What it is, it's a lot of misinformation, right? And then omissions. Either they are omitting it on purpose or they simply don't know because they haven't followed the Sanders family since they were children. Like some of us. Right? I'm in Texas. So just because you might run into a newbie or an auntie who's learning or coming up, that doesn't mean that's the case for all of us over here. So like I said, I'm focused on the community and I'm trying to answer questions from a newbie or auntie or do an update or get information from an auntie. And then you got somebody over here spitting out just straight nonsense. He hasn't won anything. He hasn't done anything. Then I have to spit out Shador's resume.
First,
saying,
let me handle some business real quick. Give me a second, guys. Let me handle some business real quick.
And then I'm having to come in at straight facts. And then all they can say is just nonsense, trash opinions, but not backing it up. So I love that we're data-based. I love that we stick in the facts and that we, know Shador's resume.
Let me handle some business real quick, guys. So I want to get back to Shantae's question. She said, who will get fired first, the GM or the coach? I'm going to get back to that so that we can answer that question. But I want to handle this business real quick. Al Roberts with the super chat. Thank you so much. Let's say 12 gets his shot and balls out this season. What happens going into 2026? Watson is under contract with the big numbers. Do they sit 12 then? That's a good question. And let me start with Todd Smith. Todd Smith, if you're still here. All right, Todd. Okay, go ahead, Todd.
Come back to me.
Okay. All right, so him, you go first, and then I'll get Wild Dog.
Okay, see, the thing is, you got some media members already saying the Browns quarterback is in the next year's draft. So it basically, if the Browns will have a winning record, it seems like they're going to draft a quarterback with the 2 picks they got in the first round, regardless of what Shador does. But the thing about it is, they can't put Shador on the practice squad because another team can come offer him a contract. So 9 times out of 10, they're going to start him. And if he look good, then he's going to play. And they're going to draft Caleb Downs or some defensive players in the first round. It's all up to his play. We all got to wait till the play. The Shador fans, the Shador haters, we can talk all day long. But until he get on the field and play meaningful football, we're not going to have a real answer for none of these questions.
No, but Al is saying what happens, the scenario is, what happens if he gets the play, he balls out?
Oh, he's going to be the quarterback for sure.
If
they got him for cheap.
You're saying he gets the quarterback and they don't draft a quarterback in 2026?
Because they got him for 4 years locked in, and they don't owe them that much money. So why would you draft another quarterback if you got a good one?
That makes sense.
You understand?
If you got somebody that's so Al, him is saying, if he balls out and you got him on the cheap, you got him for $1. You know what I'm saying? You got him for $1, and if you're going to go draft somebody, first round. That first round has money implications that is tied into Watson, right? Either you're going to cut Watson this year and just eat that money and say, all right, we're going to just eat that. But as long as he's on the team with that money and he's getting well, with a possibility of playing again, you can't go out and go get a first rounder and invest $40,000 in that person with $40,000 already under Watson. I mean, I think that's how it goes. Somebody can correct me if I misspoke.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact, and that's what they good at this year because out of all the quarterbacks that they have, their money don't combine to a quarterback like Sam Darnold. All of them are under $3-4 million contracts, so that's why they can carry 4 quarterbacks into the roster because they're not paying that much for all 4 put together. You understand what I'm saying?
And somebody did say that there's a possibility. I think it was the facility they got a show. I didn't click on it, but I think the title said it's a possibility that they keep 4 quarterbacks.
Yes, that's a facility.
They don't monetarily, you know what I'm saying? They don't have any obligation, and they could keep. But then what position is struggling or is suffering? The fact that you're going to keep 4 quarterbacks, that means that somebody, a group or a room is lacking a player.
Well, no, Harry. What they put it like is you just taking off a gunner from the punter team or someone, say, on the kick return team like a Dallin Simpson who came from Tennessee who can play running back, receiver, and kick return. He's going to have more options. You're not really losing a player. You're just going to have to take a running back or a tight end and make him play another position. You understand what I'm saying? You're not losing.
So you are saying I'm right that there is a room that's going to struggle, but it's going to be a room that is not.
Fact. That's a fact, Harry. It's a fact.
Okay. All right. So you're going to just take him for the punter team.
Yeah, that's all it is. Say like a player like Xavier Weaver, who really didn't play last year for Arizona.
Oh, Xavier Weaver is balling out.
He balling now. But what I'm saying, last year, Arizona, he didn't really play. So you can put him on a practice squad and put another quarterback and then flip him in and out. You're not really losing. You know what I'm saying?
So that's the way that they keep 4 quarterbacks on that roster, and they're not really committed, that much, financially. They don't have a big commitment. Alpha J said, "Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it." Alpha said, "I appreciate your show, the family of callers, but I am proud of this level of discussion. Great observations. Hey guys, the panels, you're doing a great job. You guys are getting me super chat, so you're earning your money." Your non-payment tonight. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, I know you're a busy man, Harry, but you got to go live more, man. We need more of these conversations on this live app, man, because people don't be talking like this.
Okay, all right. I'll try my best. I want to when I come on here to have something substantive to talk about. So that's why I don't really go live like every day. I don't want to just come on here and be running my mouth jabba about nothing. I just want to make sure that when we have big topics that somebody comes on here and we talk about it. But another super chat from Shantae, member of the show. She got that green thing on her name. Salute to you, Shantae. I would say she's the most beautiful female on the show, but I don't want to step on any other female. She could be using an AI photo. I don't know. She
is beautiful, though. I got to give her that. But go ahead.
It could be an AI photo. I think that's AI. I'm joking, Shantae. I'm joking.
I call her the coach's daughter.
I'm joking, Shantae, but let me read her information.
She know way too much. She know enough like a coach's daughter. So I call her the coach's daughter.
Come with football. We better not come lacking when you're talking football with Shantae. But Shantae says, as long as the NFL continues to pay losing organizations the same dollar amount as a Super Bowl champ, $350 million, then these losing teams will continue to play on our faces.
100%.
Look at Shantae.
100%.
That's a fact. You need to pin that comment. That's a fact.
And Harry,
that is like Jim right there. Hold a minute. So if we take it back to college, you know how now we're gonna have the $20 million cap on all teams and whatnot. Like Shantae is like, dang girl, you really dug in there for that. She said, listen, man, look, whether they lose or whether they win, it doesn't matter. They're all sharing revenue at 350 M's. You feel me? So they don't care. They don't care at all. I mean, like, come on, Cleveland has been
well. Not to push back on that, but the Browns owner have been on the field looking at every Shador throw, and I think he's coming to understand that this might be the savior. If you look at those videos, he got a blue shirt on with khaki pants. He watches all his throws.
Yeah.
Can y'all tell me the owner's name? I heard it before, but I don't know it yet. Can y'all
Jimmy
tell me?
Haslam.
Jimmy.
Hey, Harry B, this is almost like something we touched on before with like the dysfunction.
Uh-huh.
But then football is the number one sport. So you could operate in dysfunction and still have so much revenue coming in because everybody loves football.
That's a fact.
So the Cleveland Browns are sold out. But if you start winning and you have superstars, then you can actually charge more per seat. And then owners care about football operations, they don't care about sales, right? But the owner cares very much about, having a higher percentage price on the seat, to be able to charge a higher price for his sponsors and having crazy merchandise sales. That's the bottom line, baby. That's the bottom line.
Fact. And that jersey sales.
Hold up. So you're saying
football operations have blinders on. The football operations have blinders on. But the owners and the CEO, they have to watch the bottom line.
So which part of the revenue that they get to keep? The merch sales?
The biggest profit margin for concerts, any kind of entertainment is merchandise by far.
And now you got a Shador, so that's why the owner is probably like on the field. He's like, "Dang, that boy is selling out all the dang
there you
jerseys."
go, Now you're talking. There you go.
He's selling
Not
out
only
all
that, they need a new stadium, so Shador gonna help build that new stadium.
No, you gotta have a superstar to get that stadium built,
bruh. The second they name Shador the star, I feel that there's another flip narrative to this. I feel like in-house, they already know that Shador is the starter, but they're trying to protect that, and they're trying to, you know what I'm saying? They don't want the news that's going to break the internet when we all come back on here to say Shador is the Cleveland Browns starter, and when we do that show, they don't want to preempt that. I know that's a little bit of a softer, a little bit of a cushiony type of thing, but I feel like in there somewhere, they already know, because it makes sense. You have a superstar. He comes with 1 million fan bases, and they're carrying their Bibles and their machetes. You feel me? And they are ready to erupt when they hear that news. So could it be good that they're trying to protect that? I don't believe it, because then you don't send your cronies out there, your minions, to be spreading bad news. That means that Dillon Gabriel has somebody in there, like Dillon, who. Is Dillon Gabriel parents? Are they powerful? I don't know him, so it could be their people that's spreading this stuff. I don't know.
Hey, Harry B, it's nothing. We're all human beings, so it's the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing. The left hand having one agenda and narrative, and the right hand having a whole nother agenda and narrative, and that's part of the dysfunction, which is the Cleveland Browns, bro.
When have the Cleveland Browns got it right?
And if I could address the Watson thing, why would you go?
Well, dog, let me say this quote.
Oh, okay.
DC shared this thing with me where he looked at DC. He shared this thing with me. I would have shared it if I was prepared, but it's just something that just came up. He shared something with me, and he said, "Look, Harry B." He said, who's the best in college quarterbacks, right? So on that list, DC went and did some research, and he found the best college quarterbacks. And from that list, do you know that the Cleveland Browns have had at least 3 of the best the 3 of the top-ranked college quarterbacks in Cleveland?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why we call it
I'm talking about from the top of the list.
Yeah,
Cleveland Browns have had, from that top of that list, they've had those quarterbacks in their building.
And
they had 2 Heismans, though.
That's how they earned.
Football and Baker was Heisman. Both of them they Heisman trophy.
Y'all remember Johnny Football? Look, I did a Chat GPT search. of the last 10 years, and Johnny Football did not even come up on the Cleveland's thing. I'm like, where is Johnny Football? Where is Johnny Football? Like, I was like, why is he not coming up?
That's how they earned.
But he
That's
was
how
from
they.
Texas A&M. He was one of the best quarterbacks in college.
Yeah, Harry. That's how Cleveland earned. That's how Cleveland earned the nickname QB Graveyard. It's not a joke. It's for real. This is how they earned it.
It really is.
They haven't developed a quarterback in over 20 years, and they haven't had a quarterback lead them to the division title since 1989. 1989. 1989, Harry.
I came to America in 1989.
And who was that? Barney Kosar?
Yeah, exactly. Bernie Kosar.
Damn. That's sad.
Wow.
You feel me? You feel me? So if they got something real, man, now's the time to handle it right. You got a coach who's shown you he can get you wins, he can get you situated.
Yeah, he was coach of the year twice, 2020 and 2023.
Hey, Wild Dog.
AP National Coach of the Year, so he got the goods.
It's not going to happen because they're going to have to save face. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, come on, Tim. Why are you throwing us back? We was having a good old time. You going to come in here with your negativity, Tim.
Hey, I'm bringing us back to reality.
Good vibes, Tim.
I'm bringing us back to reality, man. Yeah, I mean, when you got the owner and the GM, the owner versus the GM head coach, who's gonna be right?
So this leads us into Shantae's question: who gets fired first? Who gets fired first? This we can end with this because I gotta go give my ears to my wife. Okay, she's been having a tough day. I need to give her my ears. Who gets fired first? The GM or the head coach? Let's answer that.
In my opinion, dealing with the football operations, that falls more so under the general manager. And so I would have to say general manager.
So the GM can go and the head coach stays?
That's a fact.
I'll fire the GM faster than a speeding bullet.
That's a fact. The GM go first. The GM is the one who's evaluating the talent that he's drafting. He had a couple of years and he's still getting it wrong. Like you say, the coach that won. The coach have won Coach of the Year 2 times in the last 5 years. So it's not the coach.
They got a coach.
They do have a coach. Hey, but let me put this in movie terms. It's like the producer and the director. The producer usually comes on and brings his director. Sometimes, if it's a really good director, the director may get the script and say, "Hey, man, let me go find myself a producer." Right, like Ryan Clark and Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler, that's a fact.
And Jordan, and you know what I'm saying, and Jordan, Michael B. Jordan. So it could work, but okay. But now you're telling me with this example, you're telling me that the GM, which is the producer, he goes and his director stays. That's not going to be awkward for a new GM to come in, and then he's not going to bring his own director in. A producer's going to step into this movie and not bring his own director. He has to deal with the director that was already there.
Everybody ain't made to be a director. Look at Master P.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Hey, but Harry B, having worked in NFL, it's a small family, dog.
Hey, Tim.
Just like the film industry, right?
Like, what are you doing tonight?
Hey, just like the film industry, y'all network, and most of everybody knows somebody, or you know somebody that knows them. It's very much the same as sports, dog. Once you're in, you're in, and pretty much everybody knows everybody. So when you bring in a new GM, you know, it very well could be somebody that has a better relationship with the head coach that you've already got.
So that could mean that since he's the director that's staying, he goes out and he recommends his producer, because it's going to be a weird situation where we're on a series and this producer got his director, but then the producer gets fired. It's going to be weird. Now we got a whole new producer and that GM they may not get along. You feel me? That's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm trying to go this way. I want to do this shot. It's going to cost a little bit of extra money. And you're like, I can't do it. I'm like, what do you mean I can't do it? This is production value. Like, you're telling me I can't do my shot in Times Square? You know what I'm saying? Do you remember time?
And you know how you handle that, Harry?
How?
You bring in Coach Prime because he allowed his coaches to.
And that's what they're afraid of.
No, dog. No, dog. Oh,
take that back. Hold on. Let me edit this real quick. Let me edit that out because I don't want him to hear that.
Yeah.
Don't
the whole show went left with that. We tilted on that one.
Don't say that. Hey, yo, let's get final thoughts. Let's get up out of here, man. Look, I appreciate y'all coming on, man. Look, I just wanted to get this out. I wanted to make sure that we talked about this because these crazy narratives are all coming out. It's coming out fast. A lot of people are starting to, it's almost like the media propaganda is starting to get to them. They're not holding the line. I don't know why they're not holding the line. They're starting to think that maybe since they're saying it so much, that maybe there's some way, somehow it could be true that Shedeur, maybe he was a 5th round, and maybe by some inkling, maybe he doesn't understand. I don't know if you're like something is getting to you, but media propaganda is real. It can affect anybody. You can be holding the line for a long time, but then you're like, oh, maybe he was a 5th rounder. Maybe you got to hold the line. Hold the line for TLP. I'm going to help you to hold the line here. The video that I dropped last night, it only got 2,000 views. I expected that video to get 8,000 views because I'm dropping some serious gems in that video, and I'm sad that I got only 2,000 views. Y'all stop playing with me. Anyway, that's enough venting. Let's get up out of here. Final thoughts, please. Wild Dog, you go first.
All right, Harry B. and Tim Smith, thank you, brother. Appreciate you coming out, and all the BWB bandwagon bus blessings to you. Just look at here, just the official Cleveland Browns media, Mary Kay and whoever else, just avoid them like the plague. They're puppets. They're being spoon-fed, right? Harry B has mentioned them. He showed them today. I'll follow the Ultimate Cleveland Browns podcast or show, right? They shoot it to it straight. They break it down. Okay. Well Off Media is fully approved and they're following Shedeur. So that's still consistent. Okay. And look, the Browns can't afford it. And they really been looking for and needing a game manager, someone who's not going to lose them the game, but not necessarily going to win them the game because of their contract with Watson. But this year, they happen to get a diamond in the rough in the 5th round.
Say that again.
So their plans are totally shook because by the time Watson is healthy enough and adjusted enough, QB1 very likely could not be his. I'm speculating, but I'm just saying, hypothetically, we know what our guy could do. If somebody else can start the season and if Shedeur can finish it, Watson may not have a job to come through. And then you got this, tens of $1 million man and somebody over here making $4 million, which probably means he's taking home $2 million versus your $40 million. And that's a sad, that's not even good for football.
Hey man, real quick, Wild Dog. Hold on, Wild Dog. How did it dump that $40 million? How did it get rid of that?
They have to pay him out, dog. Dang. Whether he plays or not, they have to pay him out. So that's
they gotta eat that?
They gotta eat it, dog.
Woo.
You gotta eat it like granite rocks.
So then you're in a good position though, because if you got Shedeur, who is very capable, and he works out, and you're only paying him $4, you got him on the cheap, so you can't eat that $40. You don't have to spend it on Shedeur, but eventually you're gonna have to cough up that money if he goes out and he wins you several games, and you're gonna put that franchise tag on him. You're gonna eat that, but then you're gonna have to pay Shedeur eventually.
But you see how the turmoil and this is not what we planned. This is not going to flow with what we've been doing. And how do we deal with this? I mean, it's all human beings over there in the organization. And like I mentioned earlier, it's going to have to take the owner again to just put his foot down and clear the air for everybody when the time comes. If that's not the case, then don't take this the wrong way, but very well, Shador could be traded. And then so Watson could be the man.
This is final thoughts. You're trying to go into a whole nother show. Don't be dropping no fire.
I was trying to answer the Watson. I'm trying to just get my chance to answer the Watson question.
No, don't drop hot takes in the outro. Get out of here. You're
but
dropping hot takes.
Let's write it down. Let's make a note of it because you know how I flow, Harry. So those are my points. And then lastly, I should have probably just went into this. Lastly, remember, here at TOP Sports Club, BWB Bandwagon Bus, we are a community. Ask questions, give answers, no nonsense. We focus on the data, we focus on the facts, and we take care of each other out here in these YouTube streets.
That's right. That's right. We keep it clean, and we are a family around here. So for all of you sponsors that are out there that are looking for a clean-cut, real sports talk channel, TLP Sports Club is looking for sponsors so that I can continue to do this and keep this channel free. Wink, wink. Ty Smith, Dallas. I would stop the show for Dallas. My Texas brothers are holding me down, man. Ty Smith, what's your final thoughts, please?
Facts. On top of what Wild Dog said, more than anything, hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. So this man can stay on the ad and keep dropping gems day by day. And great show, Harry, man. I enjoyed the topic. Hey, Wild Dog, salute, man. I enjoyed the conversation with you, my brother. And to the chat, Shantae, Day Ones, and my boy DC Carson. I know he didn't come on today. I don't know what field that. He must be playing tennis with Tennis Channel somewhere. But anyways, great show as always, my brother, and y'all be blessed. And Harry, get to your wife, brother. I got to do the same.
Hey, Shantae, are you like Ron Tate? She said she sponsored $10, but where did the sponsor go? Don't the sponsor usually show up in the chat? I usually see it, but she said she sponsored $10. I don't see the sponsor. It didn't come up. There's usually like a green thing that comes up. Somebody sees it. Was it a $10 membership? Or are you saying you? You sponsored the channel for $10? Oh yeah, of course.
Hey, Shantae is the show sponsor. Thank you for the show sponsor. Shantae.
It went over my head. I'm sorry. That was a slow bird for me. Thank you, Shantae. Salute to you, Shantae. And also, let me just leave with this, guys. Listen, man, we're not delusional over here. We're level-headed. We talk sports, but we know who the real quarterback is. All right. Even though we're Shador fans and we're Colorado fans, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that we're not astute. It doesn't mean that we're not seeing what everybody else is seeing. When they say it, it's okay. But when we say it, we're delusional and we're crazy because we are drinking the tea and the Kool-Aid. No. The owner sees it, sees what we're seeing. And you know what you're seeing. We're just telling you that, look, man, every college quarterback does not work out. A la the best college quarterback, Tim Tebow, who did not work out in the NFL. We understand that. But Shador Sanders is not, and I repeat, is not a Tim Tebow. Shador Sanders, and this question was asked to me today, do I believe that Shador Sanders is a generational talent? And let me tell you why I believe he is. I believe Shador Sanders is not like this bombastic, like freak of a nature of nature, athlete that's going to wow you with his moves in and out of the pocket and throw a dime down the field. That's not Shador Sanders. But here's what Shador Sanders is. This is a young man that has been playing this sport with his Hall of Fame dad, and he didn't have to play him. There are some dads that are coaching that their sons are not the quarterback or the lead person. Shador Sanders knows and understands this game. His dad has him in his phone as grown. He's advanced. He's smart. He understands the game. when I say it, it sounds weird to your ears because I'm a fan of his. But this is stuff that other people have also said. I want you to take that into consideration. That when his back was broke, when his back was hurt, he wanted to play the game for his men. He didn't want to, like David, right? And I mean not David, like David told the leader of the army, hey man, go be with your wife, man, after he had done some dirty work. And the army, the soldier was like, nah, man, I ain't gonna be doing X, Y, and Z with my wife while my men are on the field. Shador was like, nah, man, I know my back is hurt. Give me a shot. Let me keep playing with my men. The mentality, the skill set. I believe it was the quarterback's coach from the Cleveland Browns that said that Shador, the game is starting to slow down for him because he's learning the playbook so fast. See, that kind of talk gets missed in the media because these other talks are so loud because people want to believe that Shador is no good. They want to believe that he was a true fifth rounder. So you miss the little nuances where the owner is on the field and he's believing in Shador, where everybody is saying, hey, Shador made more passes, less interceptions. You don't want to see that. That upsets you so much. But we're saying it and we're seeing it. We're seeing it and we're saying it. You're seeing it. You don't want to say it because you don't want to believe it. I know who Shador Sanders is. I don't care if the media does a backflip, a jump, land on their feet with this narrative. I will come on here, TLP Sports Club, on this community and guide you the right way because I know the media. If they do wrong, I'm going to be on their head all the time. This is Harry B. The B means billion. I'll see you on the next show. Peace.